Today on Locked On Rockies, 4 in a row, a sweep. The Colorado Rockies have played the best ball of the season. How long will it last?
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 4th day of May in the year 2023. I am your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, well, guess what? You're in the right spot because that's what we do around here. We talk about the Colorado Rockies each and every day, and we're bringing you instant post-game reaction today. Don't always do something like this, but that's the way the schedule worked out today. Breaking down the Rockies series sweep against the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm your Rockies fan extraordinaire, Paul Holden. Been following this team my entire life and been bringing you your daily Rockies talk for 3 seasons now. We are also got a really cool announcement for you all here, folks. We have partnered with SiriusXM, and so here's the deal. You're going to be able to find Locked On Rockies available on the SiriusXM app, and, you're going to be able to find the games and all sorts of stuff. You might hear me in between play-by-play or something like that as well, coming in there and talking a little bit more about our shows and things like that. So we're really excited to be now on SiriusXM. So if you want another place to find your Locked On Rockies action, you can find us here, there, or, here on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where we're free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. Today's episode of Locked On Rockies is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is it is brought to you by BetterHelp. We'll talk about that later. It's also brought to you by RocketMoney. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. Big day for the Rockies. Big part of the season for the Rockies. I mean, I know it's again, whoa, bump the brakes. It's a 4-game winning streak against the Rockies, but when you're looking for the best moments of the season so far, this is it. The Colorado Rockies are playing the best baseball of 2023 so far, and they're doing so at a time where it's other guys, it's the people we didn't expect to step up are stepping up, and the Rockies were facing multiple situations in this series against the Brewers in which, as the season has started, they were going to strike out. They weren't going to come up clutch. They weren't going to fight off pitches and just find the right spots in the infield like they did in multiple times in this series. Frankly, there's a few little negatives to look. I mean, sure, Connor Siebold's start wasn't great today, but if it was, the damage was mostly done on solo home runs. The Rockies bullpen this series was great. The Rockies in clutch hitting were great. The Rockies finally made Coors Field a pain for a team. They finally made a team miserable at their home stadium for so long. It's been a while. And the Rockies in 2 out of the 3 games needed to be clutch, and they were. In the in game 2, the Rockies were out in front. They had things pretty much handled. They had the lead. They were scoring a lot of runs. But the Rockies at one point in the series finale against the Brewers today, if you remember, were down 4 runs and 4 runs and only had 1 hit in the ballgame. To then turn that around into 9 runs and 11 hits is impressive, especially when you're doing so in back-to-back innings in the 7th and the 8th. Things did get a little tough there in the top. Again, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. It's Daniel Bard is not closing games, and boy, I'm sorry if my voice feels like weak today. I don't know. So sorry about that. But anyway, what wasn't weak was the Rockies' performance here in this series. I mean, certainly I don't know how much we can necessarily take away or how much we can change our complete mindset about this team other than it's a solid stretch of ball. I mean, this is, again, as we've said with everything, consistency is key, but 4-game win streak, that's great. Compared to where we've been in this season, how bad the Rockies have played, and especially that series against Arizona, the tone certainly was set for this series to go a lot differently, and a team in Milwaukee that wants to take advantage of a central division that is very much up in the air right now. But we got to celebrate, and we got to feel good about some of these things as well, and it comes off of interesting things like the Rockies' ability to the veteran players stepped up. I mean, Mike Moustakas was a key reason the Rockies were successful in this series today. I mean, big defensive play, big offense, and clutch hitting finally. And another Elias Diaz. It wasn't the best, but it's solid team at bats. What the Rockies did, especially in the final game of the series, won a game without having to go without, they played clean fundamental baseball. They were finally doing something in which they finally put a game together. They finally were playing to the capabilities that this team really did have. Again, it's not a great roster. It's not a flashy roster, but the pieces clearly were underperforming. There are players on the Rockies that were better than the way they've started. And that was shown today. The last 4 games have shown that the Rockies are at least making adjustments and improving, something they weren't doing for the first month of the season. They need to carry this over. The best sign, and the sign that this is going to, if this is really going to drastically change and alter the season, we'll see in New York. Because this is a team that needs to take it on the road, and it's a team that's going on the road against good teams. So, you feel good about this one. You also question again the Central. The NL Central is a wacky division. It's a weird division. But the Brewers were trying to come in here and take advantage of a team that has struggled. But now the Brewers lost the last 2 of their 3 series. And as other teams in that division continue to spiral, that's going to be one to watch. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. Let's break down a little bit more of this Rocky series here against the Brewers and more here. Because, again, not flashy, but efficient and clutch. That's the big story here in this one. Let's talk about more about this one. Let's talk more about the win, and we'll get your feedback. We'll get your reactions to the Rockies win here. But got to tell you about our friends at BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the place to go if you're thinking about therapy. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. It's the day-to-day grind. It's you got this to do, you got that to do, and you're everyone is busy and going through it. There's a million things that can run through your head. But guess what? It's okay to take time for you, and you should. When we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burned out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. You can find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming service, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and also available to you now on Sirius XM. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Thank you for making time for us every day. Shout out to my everyday listeners like Alex Jimenez and Stefano Sanchez here in the live chat. Alex Jimenez says, I don't think the Rockies are ever losing again. That would be great. That would be awesome. I don't agree with you, but I love the enthusiasm, and I love the passion. Stefano Sanchez says, I feel happy. I do too. Because it's a reminder things aren't great for the Rockies overall, sure. And it's fair, more often than not frustrating. But when you break things down, when you look at the pieces and when you look at the possibilities and the capabilities of the team, that they, maybe more often than not don't hit those capabilities or possibilities so often. The Rockies do have fun and interesting pieces to this roster. The Rockies are playing good baseball. You can't say that that can't be said the same for other teams that are underperforming right now. Do you think Rockies fans are having more fun than Cardinals fans right now? Because I'd say we are, right? I mean, not to be pointing out, not to be kicking people while they're down, but look at how the Cardinals have started the season and what they're going to have to do to turn it around, because they're much more in that win now mode. When you take a realistic look to the Rockies, when you look at the possibilities of the Rockies, you feel a little bit better. It's marred by the fact that what I would do, what I think I hope for the Rockies and where I hope to see the Rockies go most likely isn't going to happen. But, and A's fans are dealing with the worst possible scenario. It's been nice to watch and have fun, because that's what this is all about as well, is it's being entertaining. For a viewing experience, the Rockies were finally entertaining versus just absolutely frustrating and totally, being honest, not worth your time to start the season. This was a team whose performance was abysmal, was franchise worst, was sending all the wrong messages. So now you go out and you sweep a Brewers team, a good Brewers team, a team that maybe isn't playing up to their standards now, but certainly will be a team in the playoff picture. And now you go up against, now you got to go on the road against the Mets, and you got the really good Pirates who came into your town and thumped you. If the Rockies really want to send a message, if the Rockies truly believe that this roster, as constructed, as much as it is with injuries, still believes that they can be successful, then they have to back it up by going out on the road with and performing with solid road performances. And as much as the Mets have struggled, as much as that might be an issue, and we'll see how Mets fans react to Daniel Bard in this series, you got to go out and beat those types of teams on the road if things are going to really improve on the season. For us to fully buy in that this team is fully capable of competing and worth keeping as constructed, a road series like this is a good test. It's great that the Rockies finally snapped the funk at home. That was much needed. It was long overdue. The Colorado Rockies having a 7-game losing streak, being outscored a ton at home, was just absolutely unacceptable. So that's really more important to me at this point than a solid road trip. I mean, just to see that's step one. Getting the Rockies back on track for this season, if the focus still is on this season and competing this season and that mindset from the front office, it's got to be back. You got to be backed up with this performance on the road. But when you're looking at it on a smaller scale, and when you're looking at the Rockies getting better on a micro level, and as the season has gone on, you're encouraged by the fact that the Rockies have now played much better baseball over the last 2 weeks, even with the win-loss record still not being great over those 2 weeks. Closer games, better appearances, and just those opportunities that were missed. You feel better, and then you especially feel better with the Rockies coming out, not only with the sweep, but winning 4 games in a row at home. resetting the tone for the Rockies at Coors Field at least, because that's an important thing for the Rockies. Being good at Coors Field and using Coors Field to your advantage is a great thing for the Rockies and shows that when the Rockies are winning at home, they are playing a version of their best baseball of their best baseball. A good home Rockies team means this team is utilizing its strengths, especially at home. And that might develop to be the only strength for the Rockies this season. And again, it could be smaller, but those are the type of things we also look at here. Because I still think big picture, over the course of the season, this is still going to be a team that struggles. But instead of having the long, extraneous stretches of struggle, with periods of success like this, hopefully the Rockies can continue to play close, good baseball and continue to see where they can build on in the future and enhance, where they can move on from, and the gaping holes of where they really need to improve. But the Rockies have taken steps in the right direction, especially after being outscored 20-5. Since being outscored 20-5 by the Diamondbacks, the Rockies then outscored the Diamondbacks in the final series and the Brewers by a combined score over the 4 games of, that's 13 to the Rockies. Hold on, sorry. And 37. The Rockies have scored 37 runs in their last 4 ball games, and that's a feat as well. The Rockies offense that was anemic, that wasn't doing anything. That is a lot. That is a good stretch of offense for the Rockies over the stretch of 4 games. Certainly would have been great to do it against the Diamondbacks, but still, in this homestand, the Rockies go 4-2, and the back half of it, or more so more than half of the series, the Rockies offense especially got better. And that is a great sign for the Rockies. They came back in multiple games. They came back and they came up in big situations. They got moments from everybody, even if it's small things. And it was good that the Rockies were scoring and generating offense and getting back into games, not because of a wild pitch or just all this stuff. It was actually hitting. It was good defense. It was great pitching. The Rockies bullpen was stellar in this one. I mean, again, and Connor Siebold wasn't terrible. Just 3 bad pitches at the end of the day. I just don't like hearing on broadcast a guy that's not going to miss a lot of bats. That philosophy has to change of grabbing those type of pitchers. But anyway, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, 1 strikeout. Not terrible. But with the way the game was going and with the way that Wade Miley was throwing, the Rockies were in a ton of trouble. But after that, the Rockies get a little bit of momentum. He gets some opportunities. The Rockies do put some runs up on Miley, start causing the trouble in the 7th. Meanwhile, the Rockies bullpen comes out and is solid. Nick Mears, Pierce Johnson, not so much, but Nick Mears comes out, 4 strikeouts over 2 innings, only giving up 3 hits and 1 run. That's that was tough for the 1 run, but 4 strikeouts and especially great. Brad Hand, 1 hit, strikeout. An inning pitched. It wasn't nails, but it was good enough. And then the Rockies provided enough cushion for Johnson. That's a good sign. That is something the Rockies have not done all year, and it was great to see. And they did it in back-to-back. They did it in game 1, and they did it in game 2, or game 3. And in game 2, it was just guess what? You're going through it. If you can't pitch at Coors Field, you're going to go through it. And that's exactly what happened. It's not a sweep of the best team in the league. It's not a sweep of the Dodgers. It's not a sweep of the Padres or division rival or things like that. But it's the best stretch of the baseball for the season for the Rockies, and that's great news. We look ahead. We look at Friday's matchup and the big news of Friday's matchup and the possibility of and potential of Antonio Senzatella. We'll also take a look at your comments here in the live chat. following the Rockies' sweep of the Milwaukee Brewers. Also got to maybe talk a little bit more about Kris Bryant again and how this guy has been playing solid baseball and still kind of feels like he isn't even playing his best baseball yet, coming up here in segment number 3. But I got to tell you about Rocket Money. Rocket Money is your place that's going to help you save money on streaming services. Admit it, you're like me. You've signed up for stuff, you don't remember it, and it keeps popping up. You keep forgetting to cancel it. Sorare's going to help you out with that. Your subscriptions could be costing you who knows how much. And if you're looking for a simple way to cut costs, Rocket Money can help you. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about, and chances are you're one of them. Like that Stars app just to watch that one show or the free gaming trial. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscriptions for you, and any you don't want to pay for anymore, you can just hit cancel and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy. Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finances in one place and automatically categorize your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. rocketmoney.com/lockedonmlb. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. Also coming to you on the Sirius XM app. We are proud to be your first listen every day. We're proud to be free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. Proud to be your Rockies podcast. We got lots of folks in the live chat today. Texas Danger says, holy cow, they actually swept a team. Luxay says Chuck Nasty and Kris Bryant are goated. Folks, those two are quite a good punch right now, and two guys that are swinging a good bat. Kris Bryant, 2 for 3 today. Charlie Blackmon, 2 for 5 on the day with 2 RBI. Kris Bryant also with a walk. Again, pretty solid so far. 299 batting average for Kris Bryant, 10 RBI in the season, 370, 449, 818 OPS, an OPS plus of a 111. And I think we haven't seen all of if Kris Bryant can get in a power groove instead of, the hits are great, and getting on base is great. I'll take that. But if we start seeing Kris Bryant string together a couple of games with home runs, that's going to be a wonderful sign and wonderful news for the Rockies. Honestly, it would be a big reason to be for success on this road trip if the Rockies can get some solid power production from Kris Bryant. Charlie Blackmon as well, swinging a good bat there. Rockies still loving him lead off. I mean, he still wants to be the leadoff guy there for the Rocks. 3 home runs on the season for him, 275 average, 9 RBI, 385 OBP, slugging 431, an OPS of 817, and an OPS plus of 112. Not league leading, not the most flashy things, but solid performances from both of them, and you got to feel good about that. Hey, and another great sign from today and from this series as it continued for another day, Zeke, man. I mean, he really looks like he is coming into his own and coming into a groove here with the Rockies. He is certainly in a much better place right now than he was when he started the season, and that is a huge news for the Rockies. Man, he is fun to watch. He does give you those reminders, and he puts a little charge into you there when it goes when he makes the big plays and comes up with some good hits there. Was it just the 1 hit today, or was it 2 hits today? I can't remember there for, let's see, for Tovar. It was a 1-hit day, but it was for 2 RBIs. Again, another day with another hit, scores, RBI, especially being at that bottom part of the lineup. That helps there too. Mike Moustakas gets a couple of hits there for the Rockies. CJ Cron gets another hit there. Looks like the only ones out without a hit today were Jerks and Profar and Brian Servin, both of which we'd like to see do a little bit more with the bat for sure. But as you might have heard on the broadcast, I can't remember if it was the radio or the TV one. I was listening to both today. Brian Servant, just not a lot of opportunity so far this season, especially with how good Elias Diaz has been. Rockies looking to keep the momentum alive as they go out on the road here against a Mets team that is certainly going to be looking to bounce back as they were just swept by the Tigers. If this is any sign, like the Brewers, a team that the Tigers beat and then come to play the Rockies, or the Rockies playing them, hopefully they can do the same thing. But certainly a stretch where the Mets were looking to dominate the competition. The Mets playing the Tigers, Rockies, Reds, Nationals before a huge matchup against the Rays, which could, for some might be potential postseason matchup there. Rockies would love to play spoiler here. Love to get in the way of this series being a good one for the Mets. Continue their woes and keep the hopes alive. A 5-game win streak would be a great little stretch for the Rockies, and again sets you up for a situation that the Rockies can get inch closer and closer back to 500. That's still going to be a long ways away, but. It is I'm trying to see if there's any. I thought I saw the rotation coming up, but it's a moment for the Rockies again. Prove themselves, keep the good things going, and beat a good team, another good team. The biggest test for the Colorado Rockies, I think, as we can all agree, is a road test against good teams. Because when you look at the Rockies, you sit there and you say, "Uh-oh, Mets." Pirates, and then the Phillies come to town, which, Rockies had a little success there. And anyway, this is going to be a good series, hopefully. Rockies are avoiding Verlander, but maybe they would have wanted to see Verlander. But the big news tomorrow, Antonio Senzatella returns to the lineup for the Colorado Rockies. It is... Senza it's going to be really interesting to see how Senza comes back from all this time off. Really interesting to see how Senza goes after some of these this bats and goes after a team that's definitely going to want to be aggressive at the dish, score a lot of runs, and take advantage of someone that they can that's going to do a pitch to contact style of pitching. But it gives the Rockies depth. It gives the Rockies a starter that we know more about, we're familiar with, and should have and do have confidence in his abilities. And what better way to keep things right, to start things off on the right foot for Senza than to come out and be not only do things your way, but get a couple of strikeouts. Don't be afraid to go after some of these batters and get in there. And, because for Senza, if you recall, the strikeout has definitely always been an issue, and especially was last year. This would be a great opportunity for Senza to come out and get a strikeout, start things off the right way. But it's a tall ask against a Mets team that is certainly going to be looking to turn things around at home. First pitch tomorrow is going to be at 5:10 Mountain. You can find all the action on Sirius XM, and don't miss out on all the action there on Sirius XM. We just announced our new partnership with them. This has been the Locked On Rockies podcast, folks. We are always live on your favorite streaming service and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show, just like Lux Ace, just like Texas Danger, Savano Sanchez, Alex Jimenez, and lots more. You can find us on your favorite platform, your favorite streaming service. But if you subscribe to the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, you help the show grow. We'll be back in action tomorrow, more looking ahead to the Mets. We'll be talking about it all right here on Locked On Rockies.